That's all right. We're recording now, though.
Yeah, we are.
So that's good.
For those of you just tuning in, what we didn't record would have blown your minds.
Yeah, it was too much. I didn't want to. I didn't want people's wieners blasting off. So
Right, wieners blasting off, heads exploding.
yeah,
Fergie talking into one ear, Jesus talking into the other ear.
yeah, people pooping their pants. We don't need that.
I mean, I support people pooping their pants, but I don't want to be the cause of it.
Yeah, I'm not a conduit to pants pooping. So usually I try to keep it under wraps.
Is that something parents try? Well, no. I was gonna say, is that something that you attempt to be with your kids, but
you try to make him poop his pants?
That. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no.
Oh.
Because then we get to deal with it. You know what I mean? Maybe once they start, if they're old enough to do laundry, but
yeah.
At that point, you're not going to make them poop their pants.
Right. At that point, you might as well poop your pants.
Right, because it's time for them to take care of you at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. So this week, I thought, I park in the parking ramp downtown, and you kind of see all kinds of cars down there. Sometimes there's people hanging out. There seem to be a lot of people from Iowa. I'm in Wisconsin. There seem to be a lot of people from Iowa, and I don't know what was happening, but I don't know. Maybe they got a little stir crazy. But I parked next to this truck, and on the driver's window, there was a bumper sticker, or there was a sticker on the window, and it said, "Let me guess, license and registration." And I thought that was such a goofy boy. What a silly boy.
That's a good one.
I'm like, all right. So I've never been a bumper sticker guy. Have you been have you ever taped up or stickered up your cars?
No, hell no, man. I can't, I don't know, man. They're so tacky. And some of them I like the silly ones, but there's so many of them that are just people trying to show how rude they are.
Right.
People that are what was the one I saw? Get too close and I'll fling a booger on your windshield. It's okay. But
watch out.
Yeah, proactive road ragers. Just letting people know, hey, man, I'm unstable. Which I guess that's good. Give us all a warning.
Right.
But not my thing. I mean, I always get worried that, if it gets all messed up, I'm going to peel it and paint's going to come off.
Right.
Although I've had a couple sports team sticker type things that I put in my back windshield, but it's few and far between on that.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the difference. You toss it up on a window, it's pretty safe. You're not going to, pull off paint or anything like that.
Right.
When I see those ones, the let me guess, license and registration, or the badass ones, you always think this is something a 15-year-old would do.
Right.
Who's mad at their dad and thinks they're super cool, but it's some 60-year-old man.
Right. It's a 60-year-old's equivalent to orange spray painted rims.
Right. Right. Showing off their sense of humor.
Right.
How
funny they are.
I love, one of them I do like seeing is the baby on board, because you instantly this gives you information on them. And I only started paying attention to them just because I was driving to work one day and there was drive careful, baby on board, that yellow placard. And then there was smoke rolling out of the car. These two women were hotboxing in the front of their car, going down the interstate. I don't think that there was a baby on board at that point, which is good. But just seeing that, and then seeing these chain smokers just rolling down the road.
Hey man,
lady,
two moms trying to unwind.
Yeah, lady, baby on board. The cars around you are the least of your concern right now. The danger's coming from inside the car.
Well, she the baby is probably the reason she's smoking.
Yeah, so, I guess you could say she's earned it.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. My favorite are always the stick figure family ones, because
Right.
I've seen some funny ones lately. There's somebody riding around town. I've seen a couple times where it's just like a couple, but instead of kids, they have like bags of money, which is
Nice.
pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have kids. We still have all our money.
That makes
Um, and then there's like all the stick figure things. There's all like the themes too. So like every different sports team or,
okay.
but yeah, man, it's tacky. I think. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't get it. I agree. I don't get it because you'll see like Clinton, Gore, whatever, 92, and like you'll see all of these. Like they just like what are you gonna
Never
do?
took it off.
They just stay in your car. And I guess do you think podcasts are like the bumper sticker uh of communication? Because it is kind of a way like I want you to know this about me, so I'm going to like display it right here. And now we're kind of having this conversation like I want you to know this about me. So here here's my bumper sticker of an idea, and we're gonna toss it into the realm and record it for all time.
I feel like memes are the bumper
Memes?
sticker of communication.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But those are
Because
fun.
it's just like some dumbass saying, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like intended to be funny.
Right. But I don't know. I get those.
Yeah.
And I guess you can always delete those, and it's not
Right.
right.
And you can always take off bumper stickers unless you put it on your paint, in which case I feel like it doesn't come off, you know?
Right.
Did you ever so back in the day, and I'm thinking maybe you did this, but maybe not. Because you work at a car lot that sells only manual transmission, like,
Yeah. Yep.
racing cars, not all racing cars, but did you ever back in the day, did you ever like trick out your car like in high school?
No.
No, you never did.
I never did. So I had like my first car was a Dodge, like a 95 Dodge Daytona that lasted half a year.
Nice.
It was pretty solid. It was still like, it's old enough to have like, metal bumpers and things like that. So it was a solid little car and it was fun. It just, the first cold snap happened in the winter and then it just died. And then that went to a Mazda Protege. And then I got into like the Ford Taurus. I had a couple of, I don't know what the plural is, Tories.
You got into Ford Taurus?
Ford Taurus. I had a couple
I feel like
of
that's
Ford
not something
Taurus.
you get into.
Yeah, it was just kind of the hot thing at the moment.
Right.
So I've never really had a car to trick out. They've always just been kind of like whatever's there.
Right. Is that a goal? Do you
What's
want to get a sick ass car? Like, do you want to buy one from if let's say like a cool sports car comes on the lot and you just get your eyes on it, you gonna splurge, or you just gonna stay practical?
I don't know. I was kind of just like, I don't even think I'd be practical. I don't make smart enough decisions to call myself practical. But at some point, maybe. Like there are some cars that come on the lot that I just kind of want. For some reason, like my dream car is like a 95 Jeep Cherokee Sport.
Shit,
I don't
man.
know why.
Go
I
get
just
it.
like what's that?
I said, go get it, dude. That's attainable. That's an attainable goal.
It's possible. Yeah, it is definitely is possible. There's just something about like the boxiness. They have like the same like as the Wrangler TJs, like an inline 6 engine, which is kind of bulletproof. But like the boxiness of the vehicle, and I don't know.
Yeah, my friend Heath used to drive one of those, man. I know what it's.
Oh yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And
yeah, that thing was sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see them a lot anymore though. That body style.
Well, they just die. They just rust out and die eventually.
Yeah. R.I.P.
That was it. Yeah, exactly. That was their big. Speaking of RIP, do you think are the Vikings still in it?
I
There's a
mean,
narrow line.
I feel like technically they are, but I don't know. I haven't felt like they've been in it the whole year, honestly. I mean,
Right.
they every time they lose, it doesn't hurt as much this year because I'm like, it doesn't even feel like a real season with it. There's no preseason and things have just been weird. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I don't know, man. Not really, but who knows? It's just another tick on the long list of misery. You know?
That's true. And why do we do it to ourselves? Is it loyalty? Do we like being in pain? Do we
I
like having
don't.
an excuse?
I don't know, man. I don't like being in pain. I have no choice. It's like it's an identity thing. I feel like I was never given a choice as to like any other team. You know, like I was. There's pictures of me as like a 1-year-old with like Vikings like fake helmet on, and you know what I mean.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
when you grow up with something and it's part of your identity, it's almost like you can't. It wouldn't feel right to cheer for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Because like if I cheered for like the Texans or something and they won a Super Bowl, it wouldn't feel the same. You know, it'd feel weird. Like I don't think I could really enjoy it. It'd feel fake.
Right. Yeah, definitely would. Yeah, when it gets to, but yeah, we all all, Minnesota sports fans go through that where the season's done and then you kind of maybe pick a team and maybe it's because of whatever, these are my second favorite, or you have like all of your friends are, I hate to say it, all my friends are Packer fans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, well, if I can't be happy, I want you guys to be happy. Or there's just a team that's just like for some reason really entertaining for you to watch.
Right. Yeah, that's how I got into the Warriors. I used to
Okay.
be really into like the Golden State Warriors because it was just fun to watch. But I don't know if I'm just a negative person, but I'm a big like cheer against type of guy.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be like with the Packers. I got a couple friends that are Packers fans, and that's fine. But they get into the playoffs, whoever they're playing is my new favorite team. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like go Niners or go Saints. Let's go. Even
Yeah.
though I don't really care either way about either of those teams, but if they're playing the Packers, I mean they're who I'm cheering for.
Right. I guess, yeah, there is a little bit of that, I guess, too. Like where if they lost, then I wouldn't be beaten up about it. Or maybe there's like a little bit of that inside that like, all right, they're with us too. They're losers now too.
Right. Yeah, that's a good feeling because then it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, let's say the Rams win the Super Bowl. I mean, who gives a shit? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like,
At least it's
what
not
they
one of
do.
the two teams. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been weird. Like I think that's why like the Twin season wasn't as heartbreaking, just because it was a super weird season.
Right.
But it was a 60 game season for baseball,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something like that, and I kind of expected what happened to happen
Yeah.
because this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get to the playoffs and lose all the games in a row. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're right up there too. Which
Okay.
now the thing nowadays too, like the Twins doesn't feel as bad. The Twins used to be so back in the day, they used to be, this stereotypical small market team where they didn't spend money and they were trying to like get by with all these prospects that never really worked and they never really hit all at the same time.
Right.
And then now, like they've been spending a little money. They've been going out, they've been getting some guys, like they're a good team. So it's like that in itself feels like a win, like the
Yeah.
standards for the Twins and the Vikings to me are two different things. Like just them making the playoffs is like insane,
Right.
compared to like the Vikings seem to make the playoffs every other year. And it's like, okay, which one of these years are they going to like actually make a run and do something?
By that we mean make it to maybe like the NFC Championship game and lose,
Right.
or maybe make it to the Super Bowl and just get blown out.
Yeah, because that sounds like something they do.
That is the life of a Minnesota sports fan.
Yeah, I don't think like there'll never be a time when they make it to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl and I don't feel like they're going to blow it.
Right.
They could be up 34-0 in the Super Bowl and I'm like,
Oh my God.
Falcons all over again. Here we go. Like
Yeah.
they're going to blow this. Yeah.
Like we'll never be able to relax.
No.
Especially if it comes to a kick or something.
So like speaking of that, so what do you have like an all-time like Vikings experience? Like what are your all-time memories of Vikings, like your number one memory of misery?
It had to be Gary Anderson
Yeah.
playing the Falcons. Because it was, I don't remember all of the game, but I remember enough. And like I think it was like Vikings had the ball back and they were around the 50-yard line, or around the 50-yard line, and they had all three timeouts, and it was the fourth quarter. So they played for overtime. So
Right.
they had all three timeouts, one of the best offenses ever, and they take a knee to run out the clock to go to overtime.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? What? So I was upset with that. But like Gary Anderson hasn't missed a field goal in 5,000 years or something like that.
Right.
And so they were confident in him, and it comes down to it, and he misses. First field goal of the year, he misses.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the original, for me, the original heartbreak. Obviously, there have been many since then. How about you?
Right. Yeah, that was my original one. I would say like probably my all-time experience was when I was in grad school. I was a grad assistant with this other guy named Jake. Nicest guy ever, and we became pretty good friends. But Jake was like not a football fan. He was a soccer guy. So he played like college soccer. He watched soccer, but he wasn't like much into like watching sports per se.
Okay.
He was more of like I don't know, just like not a watching sports guy, I guess, which is weird to think that somebody's like that, but that's how he was. So, but the Vikings got to the NFC Championship game that year against the Saints, and he invited me over because he's like, "Oh, this is gonna be good. Like, let's watch it together. It'll be fun." So I went over there. It was just me and him and his fiance. And we're watching the game and we're having fun and we're drinking some beers and we're eating some tacos and things are good. And, I'm watching the game and they turn it over and turn it over and they keep turning it over, but it never felt like it was out of hand, So I'm
Right.
like, okay, they're doing this. Cause they were like, it was almost like the game this week with the Buccaneers where they, had the ball most of the game and the offense is ticking, and you just thought like, okay, at some point they're gonna figure this out.
Right.
So it gets down to the end, and Brett Favre, so I'm like on edge, and these guys are like, what is going on here? Because they don't watch sports. So I'm like screaming at the TV. Brett Favre's like, dropped back to pass, and there was that last play where he threw that pick, and I'm like, run, run, run. And they're, I feel like I terrified them because, so he throws the interception, like game's over. And I was so like just pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like at their house, just like cursing and like yelling and like hitting their couch and just like throwing a fit. And I just remember like getting up and I was breathing really hard. And I was just very like emotional.
Right.
And they were like terrified. I'm like,
Maybe.
all right, see ya on Monday.
All right.
It was at that point too, I'm like, okay, no more watching the game with random people.
Right.
It wasn't random, but you know what I mean. Like,
well, I don't even like watching the games with people in general.
right.
That specific thing. because I don't think I never got too worked up outwardly, but I would just be like locked in, and I'm like for some reason totally invested. I want to like zone in and just like watch every aspect of the game.
Yeah, me too.
So when I watch with someone else, it's always just like they want to talk and they want to I don't know, and there's always like a kid around or something. Like I'd rather just like be in my own little like cone of like intensity and shame and like everything else. So it's such is life.
Yeah, I've been like that with my kid. So my kid has been getting into football, and he's decided he's gonna like the Broncos, which whatever. I guess that's a disappointing thing, but
did you ever have one of those?
What's that?
Like some team like that you just liked for whatever reason when you were younger, or was it?
Yeah. I mean, I like the Bengals because of Jeff Blake.
Okay.
I used to thought Jeff Blake was just super tight, and Carl Pickens. Those guys were sick, but they were always kind of like a secondary team, like.
Right.
Yeah. So he's getting into the Broncos, but he still likes to watch the games, and he's just constantly, because he doesn't know football, because he's just a little kid. So he's constantly asking me like question after question after question after question, which is fine. I'm trying to like be the dad and like explain it all to him, and it's fun, but I'm kind of like you too, where it's like he'll be talking and I'll be like, wait, wait till after the play,
Right.
Like,
right.
Stop staring at me while I'm looking at the TV. Like it's weird.
Right. Those are just, yeah. Don't watch me watch television. Just watch the television.
Right.
You'll get there. Those are just kind of like the unwritten rules of people who are too into sports, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
We'll get there. So does that mean, is it to the point where like that's like a big percentage of like Christmas presents or anything like that?
There's like Broncos stuff.
Yeah.
No, not really, but it probably could have been. Like he likes football cards. Football's like all he can talk about now. He like yesterday, we watched he had like a countdown to the Vikings game. Like every half an hour, he's like, "Oh, only a half an hour," only an hour left. So then we watched the game, and then after the game, he goes outside with a football and like is throwing it to himself until I get sad about it, and I'm like, all right, let's play catch. So then we play catch, and after we're done playing catch for like a half an hour, I go inside. He comes in and gets like a drink of water and goes back out and keeps playing by himself.
All right.
And then at night he's like super invested in the score of the Bills-Steelers game. So yeah, I would say it's like his new obsession, which is cool because I was like that as a kid. But
oh yeah,
it can be kind of annoying for Katie because he keeps asking her like, "Mom, look on your phone. Are the Bills still winning?" Katie's like, "Who gives a shit?"
Yeah. Who cares?
How are the Bills doing? I got a Josh Allen card. I want it to be worth something.
And it will be if they win today. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, if he wins, this is going to go up in value.
You dork.
Oh, man, I remember those days.
Right?
Like, perfectly happy. Like, days where I'd be outside for, like, 6 hours just, like, throwing a ball up in the air and catching it and perfectly happy.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best. Absolutely.
And I'm looking through the window just, like, feeling sad. Like, oh, he looks so lonely out there. And then I come outside and he's like, "Dad, you should have saw it. I caught one and it went off the thing and I caught." And I'm like, okay, he's having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It is the best time.
So, do you ever watch The Wolves?
Not a ton. Like I watch a lot of highlights. I've been doing the Netflix Hulu thing for a long time, so I don't really get any mini sports games unless it's on like Fox or CBS.
Sure.
How about you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been sort of invested. The thing that sucks though is like it gets like halfway through the season, and I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Right.
You know, I like NBA though. I got the package, even though we're in like Minnesota territory essentially, so I can't watch the Wolves on it.
Yeah.
I can watch all the other teams, which is weird. But now that you know, I can go over to the pizza place, I can watch them. But they have so many games, I can't like justify being gone like 4 days a week to go watch. You know.
To work.
Yeah, but I've been watching them. They replay them on Fox Sports, so like the
Okay.
next day I'll be getting ready and watching them. So
Well,
yeah,
I
I
would
hope they
watch.
do good this year, man.
Yeah. Well, I'd hope so. They got the first pick in the draft, right?
Yeah, he scored like 5 points in his first game. I'm like, that can't be good.
That's promising.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
But I'm like that for so I'm like that for baseball, and there's more games, but I have to make myself not watch baseball because
Yeah,
I can get sucked in. Like I can just like lose an entire day just watching baseball for no other reason than I think it's just like relaxing and it like
sure.
puts my mind somewhere else. But then it'll be like getting dark outside and I'm watching a baseball game and I realize I've just been like sitting watching baseball all day. And it's not great because there's other things you should probably do, like get
Right.
food and all that other stuff.
You were a baseball player though.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, as was I, but you were like real good at it. I mean, you played in college, didn't you?
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still that. Like it's fun to guess pitches and it's fun and like the second like a pitch is coming, like the second the pitch is coming and it's something like you would have swung at, like I still get like the twitches where I'm like sitting there on the couch and I like twitch like I'm about to swing. That still happens. And that's fun. Like then you get mad because obviously you're seeing the game an entirely different way than they are. You can see the ball a little bit longer than they can at the plate. But then I get really judgy about the players of like, why did they let that go? Why did like, you can't let that be strike three.
Right.
And I'm not there.
Right.
When I would just be like whiffing on every single one of these like mid 90s fastballs, which is just like easy for them.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You see, like Miguel Sano's up, and he lets a fastball down the middle come right through without swinging, and you're like, all right, come on, that was the one. You missed the one pitch. Now you're gonna strike out.
Right. Like you can just bunt it 500 feet. You're Miguel Sano.
Right.
You're a monster.
Right. You can get hit by a pitch and hit a home run.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just bounces off of you.
Yeah.
All of this bulbous fat.
It's a good word.
Do you watch the Wild? Do you do hockey at all?
No. I think I was
Good.
I had
Good
some
for you.
yeah. I had some North Star gear when I was younger,
Okay.
but just because I don't think I actually ever like watched a game, but I remember having some North Star gear and remember kind of wanting to play hockey, but then it was just like too expensive to get into at the time, so we just didn't.
Yeah.
And I had a cousin that played hockey, but that was kind of about it. Then they left for Dallas, and then that was kind of it. Haven't really gotten back into it at all. But I can get like, if a game happens to be on, I can kind of get lost watching it. Same with like soccer or anything else.
I was gonna say, are people that are into like soccer and hockey annoying to you like they are to me?
More soccer for me. I don't know why. It's just like an entire lifestyle. And
Yeah.
it's not like they're watching like one league of soccer. It's like they're watching like city leagues in the US and the UK and then like regionals, and then there's like, I don't know, each soccer league has like 4 or 5 different levels.
Right.
And these people are just like obsessed with all of them, and I don't get it.
Yeah. It's incredibly boring. You'd rather have guys, watch dudes skate around for 45 minutes. Straight.
Right.
Like,
And then sometimes someone scores, and
dude,
it's always
it is so boring.
and it's always a surprise.
I hate it so much. I don't know. Like when people come in and they're like, there'll be like an NBA game on, and they're like, "Can you change it to the hockey game?"
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm like, come on, really? I don't know why soccer and hockey just get me so fired up. And I feel like if my kids played soccer and hockey, I would be into them playing it. Like,
Yeah.
because my kids have played soccer and that's cool. And like I'm not like against the sports. I just think that like fanatical fans that like those two sports, to me, sometimes it's like, I don't know, man. It just seems like they're trying to be different to be different. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So that's the one thing it makes me think of. Like going to college, starting out in college, like I'd never heard of a lot of the people like OAR,
Right.
and then like some of like the smaller jam bands, like never heard about them in my life, and no one ever talked about them. And then in college, like everyone is like, well, you have to listen to OAR, you have to, and then like everybody just to like be in a different band or be into different music. And then the same thing happened where people that were probably never into soccer or rugby or hockey just started to like pick those things as obsessions, as like,
Right.
because they needed a different personality trait. So they're just like, well, I'm gonna be the soccer guy. I'm gonna wear the scarf. I'm gonna wear that thing over my neck to class, and I'm gonna be different.
You'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see. I'm gonna be different.
I'm cultured. So that was like my first run-in with like soccer players. And then like in my high school, all the soccer players were hockey players. Like they were all the same. It was the same group of people.
Really?
Yeah, which they were pretty funny. Like I think they were a good group of dudes. Like they were funny and everything, but they weren't like obsessed with it. Like when you get into like a college area or a college town, that people get obsessed with those kind of things.
Sure. Yeah, all of our soccer players were cross country runners. They were all just like
Makes sense.
big, thin dudes, you know?
Okay.
So it was always just kind of like you knew the guys that were soccer players because they were like the tall, like tiny guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think ours were all like just stoners,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stoners playing hockey and soccer. That was it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like ours, yeah, probably like half of them were like that too.
Yeah. So I can respect that. I can respect the players.
For sure. Me too. Yeah, and I don't think I don't think I have anything against both sports. I think I'm just like it's like you're saying, like the people that pick up the sport as an obsession later on in life, it's like, okay, like, you didn't have much going on. I get it,
Right.
I don't know.
I know Citadel's playing Rutherfordshire in the Premier League Championship, but like we don't have to watch it here in Sioux Falls.
Right. It's okay. Yeah. You know what's really cool though? We got a Bosnian restaurant here in town that I'm
Really?
pretty sure nobody except Bosnians know about.
Okay.
The only reason I knew about it is because like when I worked across the street for like a couple years and I just like noticed it one day and the sign's like super tiny. And I'm like, well, I wonder what it's called the Jay-Z Cafe.
Cool.
Not Jay-Z like Jayz, just Jay-Z.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe the dude's name is like that's his initials. I don't know. I don't know the reason for the Jay-Z. But I went in there and that place was it was sick. There was like 4 or 5 like Bosnian dudes in there watching like a soccer game and just like drinking beers and like yelling at the screen. And I'm like, okay. So like, I could get into that. That was cool because it felt authentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I see it right here. I was just doing a quick search of like, does Jay-Z mean anything in Bosnia? And the first thing that came up was Jay-Z Coffee Bar and Grill, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like a hole in the wall and like nobody knows about it and it's tiny and it feels like half the time you go in there, there's no one in there. But like the only people I've ever seen in there are Bosnian. But
Nice.
the guy who owns it, super nice guy. He's always like, trying to like get me things before I ask for them, like just immaculate service. But I'm the only person that I've seen in there that's not Bosnian, And if you ask me like how I know they're Bosnian, it's because of the accent, you know what I mean? And they all know the owner. like nobody that goes there, it's like all regulars, you know?
Sure.
Like somebody will come in and like the owner's like, oh, look at this guy, you know, and they're like, you punching each other. And it's like,
The guy's just
what?
reading the paper, like, what?
Yeah. When I come in, he's like, oh, hello, friend, you know, and it's like, okay. You know, it's almost like he's very surprised by my presence there.
Yeah.
But for a while when I worked there, I used to go across the street and eat lunch there maybe like once every 2 weeks, and started to kind of get to know the guy. He's like a security guard by night and works at his restaurant during the day. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a life.
that living the life, dude.
Definitely.
Living the life.
Speaking of restaurants, something's happening this week.
Yes. Yeah.
What is
So
that?
my little pizza place that I sunk all my money into is turning 1 year old, and haven't even lost money on it yet. So that's been good.
Wow. Good work.
Yeah. Haven't made a lot of money, but you know, it's COVID year, so to
Yeah.
not lose money, I feel like is a win.
Oh, definitely. What a year to start.
Yeah, right?
First off, like, so COVID's definitely your fault then.
Oh
Because
yeah, for
like
sure.
you decide start, you and your wife decide start a business, and then the world's just like, well, that. Let's test them out a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they know I'm a Vikings fan, so they just wanted to just stick it to me one more time, you know?
Yeah, I can understand that.
Just twist the knife.
Yeah. So how's it been?
It's been all right, you know. It's been. I will say this: like, whether or not the place like kills it and makes money, and I get rich, which I'm not expecting because it's small and we just don't have capacity like that. But it is really like a rewarding job, and it feels nice to be a part of a neighborhood, and we have regulars, and we're able to like help local causes, and things are, I don't know, man, it's just a real fun thing to do for work, I guess. It doesn't feel like work, you know?
Right.
Like I come and go as I please. We have like a crazy good staff, like all the people on our staff. I was very picky with everybody, and they're all awesome people. One of them's an old friend of mine too. So like if I'm working, you know, and he comes in, or if he's working, I'll come in, and it's just like hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's kind of like Cheers, the bar and Cheers. It feels like it's just a kind of a tight knit crew of people and customers and whatnot. And yeah, it's been a good year.
Absolutely. Well, and I think what I don't think about enough. So like I work for a company that's kind of the similar situation where I'm like working with a friend that I've known for a long time, but you kind of lose track of making money or not making a lot of money, but like you're employing people that are, have a wage. Like that's
Right.
crazy. That's like, I forget about that like an idea you had and like an investment you made is now paying people. It's like paying for people to work. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool, like in and of itself.
It's been very cool. Yeah. And I mean, with COVID, that's been like a lot of my thought processes. I schedule people. Like we have a couple, well, now we only have one, but we used to have a couple people that like, they didn't have another job. Like that was their only job. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to give them most of the hours. And I explained that to everybody else, and everybody else, we're all adults, and they're like, hey, I get it. I get why that person's getting, 70% of the hours, and the other people are getting, whatever's left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been good. It's rewarding. Like I said, I like being the leader of teams. I don't know why. It's just like,
Sure.
I think probably because I've had so many like awful bosses that I'm like, I feel like I know how to be nice to people, and I know how to like respect them and treat them like adults, and like we've never had, I don't think I've ever had an issue with an employee like where we didn't get along, except for there was this one like 20-year-old girl that worked for me that her mom owns like a herb shop, and
Okay.
they were
Like
real
marijuana?
what?
Like marijuana?
No, I don't think so. I think it's like kind of like the same thing as like essential oils or something.
Okay, yeah.
Like
Figured.
they sell pills with herbs in them that are supposed to cure everything.
Mhm.
So they were really against mask wearing.
Oh,
And
perfect.
yeah, perfect, right? Exactly what I wanted to deal with. So that became a policy for us like in April, I think, where I'm like, look, man, everybody that works here has got to wear one. And everybody's cool about it and everybody does it and nobody complains about it. But that one person was like fighting it.
Huh.
And her mom even brought in like some like thing with studies on it that she typed on Microsoft Word, and like all the citations were from like, holistichealing.org.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So yeah, anyway, long story short, she ended up having to wear a mask begrudgingly, but she was like, being a turd about it. Like I'd look on the cameras and she'd have it on as a chin strap and everybody else is wearing it. And I'm just like, I remember having to call the store a couple times and be like, hey, put, so-and-so on the phone. Like, can you put your mask on? But that's like the only person I've had to have any issues with. Everybody's been super duper awesome. So,
Nice. Well, that
which
is,
is
I mean,
good, man.
yeah. And I think like everybody's had to deal with that resistance. Like so,
Well, yeah,
and if that's like that's cool that that's like the worst thing
right.
for you, just because like that's like that's everyone's like reality in customer service, in that world, in the hospitality world, that like everyone's had to have. That's like this their reality. There's going to be those
Sure.
people. What are some like stories that stick with you the most over the last year?
Well, we've had some weird stuff like not a ton of weird stuff, but like it's always the weird stories that stick in my mind. Like for whatever reason, our front door, it's a pull door because you push it to come inside, as doors
Yeah.
work. But whatever reason, like people end up running into our door like so much. Like
Okay.
almost like every other time somebody goes to leave, they try to push it and then have to pull it. And I've seen multiple people like with a box of pizza trying to like hustle out the door and then run into it like a bird when running into a window. And then they're like, oops, my bad, and it's just so awkward. And
Yeah.
you have to be like, oh, have a good day, like I don't know what to say. There was
Right.
this one lady that came in a couple weeks ago. Very, very weird. So she comes in, she gets a beer, she takes it in the bathroom. She's drinking it like as she's taking a dump or something. She was in there for like 15 minutes. Then she gets out, her pizza's done. She gets a phone call. She's like yelling at some guy on the phone, like yelling at him. And
Yeah.
then she like hangs it up. She's like, "Rah, rah, rah," like grumbling about something. And then she eats one piece of pizza and she's like, "Can I get a box?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Then she takes the crust and she goes and she throws it away in the one bin we have in the entire store that's marked recycling only. The only one. All the rest of them, they're garbages. This one's just recycling.
Sure.
So she throws her dirty crust in the recycling only. And then she goes to leave and she could not figure out the door. I mean, it was ridiculous. So first she tries to push. She's like, "I think your door's locked." So she's like locking and unlocking the door and like nothing's working. And she's like, "Oh, what do I?" And I'm like, "It's a pull door." So then she goes to pull it without turning the handle. So she's like pulling on without turning the handle. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on with this lady? I had to open the door for her. She was like, and finally just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to open this. I'm like, you came in that door, lady. It's
Right.
not a saloon door. Like if you push it to open it to come in, you pull it to go out. Like,
Right.
it's just how doors work. And this lady was like 60 probably. Like
Oh.
she's went through so many doors. I guarantee it.
I
In
would
her
like.
life.
You'd have to think.
You would think. You
Yeah.
would think. Yeah. Unless
And-
she's just like an old hippie and she just has beads everywhere.
And like most doors, like there are two options. And if option 1 doesn't work, you should probably move on to option 2. If you couldn't get that.
Right. She couldn't figure it out, man. She couldn't figure it out. So there was a dude that just the other day was offering to ride along with me. So we don't deliver, but if like a big company's like, hey, we need 12 pizzas, I'm like, okay, I'll get a staff in here and we'll take it to you. So that's what happened. Like a big company ordered a whole bunch of pizzas, and I was like loading them into my car. And some guy that had already ordered and paid for a pizza, so I don't really understand how this would even work,
Yeah.
was like, hey, man, you think I could ride along with you and then I'll get my pizza free and I can help? I was like, no.
What?
Like, no, you can't. Like, I don't know you,
Right.
Like, that's weird as hell, man. I mean, and I'm pretty sure my reaction was pretty close to that, too. It was kind of like, I don't think I need help, but, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, we're into people paying for the pizza. Like, what is going on?
And not giving random people rides.
Right. I'm like, and then I made up too. I'm like, oh, I'm going home after this too. So, I wouldn't be able to drop you back up.
That's all right. I'll sleep over.
Yeah, because I felt like I was being mean to him at first because I reacted similarly to how I did here, where I'm like, no. But then finally I'm like, plus, just to like shield the blow or whatever in my mind, I had to make up some story about me not going home or not going back to the pizza place. Like, then I'm going back home. So, it wouldn't even have worked out anyway even if I would have said yes. So
yeah. Like then give them a reason to stake out the pizza place to make sure you're telling the truth. You come back.
Yeah, so I was like,
going home.
That was the thing too. I was like watching on the cameras on my phone as I was like driving back. I'm like, all right, is he gone yet? Like, I'll pull over and get gas,
Yeah.
I didn't want to come back. I should have just came back. I should have just
come back and then you have to give him a ride home.
Just come right in.
You're going home. Oh, sorry.
Pretend like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well,
that was my brother.
Yeah, we're twins.
Yeah.
No, so it used to be a laundromat, the building that I'm in.
Okay.
So we get so many people that come in and they're like, man, I remember doing laundry at this place. That's like the number one thing people say.
Okay.
So, but one time there was a guy last year, a big burly fella with like it was very cold out, with like a stocking hat on. He came in with a full hamper of dirty laundry and got all the way inside before he figured out it's not a laundromat anymore.
Yeah.
And he didn't even say anything. Like he literally looked around and he was like, oh, okay, and then like turned around and left. So that was weird.
Awesome. Like maybe he got Encino manned and he was just been like locked in ice for a couple of years.
Right. Yeah, because it hasn't been a laundromat, for like 3 years, probably.
Okay. Yeah, so he definitely was like buried in like some ice somewhere for a little bit. And like
Living
at
under a
first,
rock.
he was on his way to do laundry and then he got buried in ice and then he just got thawed out.
Right.
He's like, all right, well, I might as well do my laundry now.
He came out of the ice and he's like, I don't have any clean clothes.
Right.
I forgot to do laundry before I got cryogenically frozen.
Exactly. Naturally out in the wild.
Yeah.
As tends to happen sometimes.
Right. Last story that I have that I can think of was during the summer, there was this guy on a moped, which I got a moped just like this guy, and it's sick. It's like a Honda Urban Express from the 80s. Mine is like the exact replica, if you've ever seen Eastbound and Down, that Kenny Powers rides into the Mexican baseball stadium.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that's the one I got. He had a black version though, so I was like, oh, this is sick. So I like met the guy at the door because I'm like, okay, I gotta check this thing out, you know. And he had an order, but we didn't have the order. So I'm like, wait, what? You know, I don't have an order for, you know, Kevin or whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, what? You know, and then he listed it off, and it was some like pizza name that we don't have. And I'm like, are you sure you ordered here? And he's like, is this Sonny's Pizza? You know? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you know. So anyway, we ended up finding out there's a Sonny's, like Sonn, not SU, Sonny's Pizza Bistro in Des Moines.
Okay.
So he made an order there. Then he came to pick it up here. I eventually called them and I'm like, hey, is there an order there for Kevin? And they're like, yeah. Where the hell is that guy? And I'm like, in Sioux Falls. Like he's he's not coming.
Yeah. It might get cold by the time he gets there.
Yeah. Man, I don't. Yeah. How does that even happen?
People being people.
I feel like
I
he
don't know.
misspelled the name and he got the one in Des Moines.
Or like looked at, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, Des Moines. Yeah, Sonny's is right down the road. People have those things happen. Those things happen to me all the time.
Do
Like,
they?
No, I don't often order pizza in Des Moines accidentally. But just like the whole, my brain was thinking this one way, and then I received the information, and then like perceived it a certain way because I was like off somewhere else. But I don't think I've ever ordered food at some place that's like 4 hours away from my town.
Right.
That'd be a stretch.
Yeah, you never made an order at Brothers Bar in Minneapolis
Right.
on accident.
Yeah.
Showed up and where's my burger?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a Buzzard Billy's a half block away from me, and I just found out that there is also one in Des Moines. Like they made one in Des Moines, so that would be like that. It would be me pulling up Buzzard Billy's, not realizing it's Des Moines, and then just making an order for pickup.
Yeah.
And then being mad, and then, what do you mean?
Yeah. No, and it's even funnier when the person is weird, which this guy was super weird.
Definitely.
You know? Like
Well,
he was like an old, he looked like an old like motorcycle guy. Like he had like a curly mustache with a beard. He was like super like kind of dirty.
Okay.
But like he had like a leather jacket on and he was riding a moped. And I'm like, hot diggity dog, this guy, like you couldn't make this up. It's like a character on like a sketch comedy show or something.
Right. I love it. Like it would have been better if he would have like walked in. What do you mean, Des Moines? And then like walked out and that was it.
Yeah.
And he's
What
off
do you mean
to
Des Moines? What's that?
Ah, damn it. And gets on his moped and drives to Des Moines.
Tries to burn out, like keeps his feet on the ground and lets it like hot rod would.
Yeah.
Yeah, spitting dirt everywhere.
Well, that's cool.
Stone Cold Hunks.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have a hunk of the week, or should I go first this week?
I want you to go first because last time I went and then yours was thoughtful and mine was just a load of garbage.
You're not gonna like it because mine's thoughtful again.
Okay. Well, mine's kind of thoughtful. Mine's more
nice.
thoughtful than it was before.
Perfect.
I'm not choosing somebody because they're like a veiny erect penis this time.
I mean, that could be thoughtful too. They could be a really nice veiny erect penis.
That's what she said.
Well, my hunk of the week this week has to be, I was gonna say you and Katie.
Really?
Like dual hunks, because you're coming up on your year at the place. Put a lot of time and effort into it to build something that's paying people, it's feeding people, you're helping your community. I think that's awesome, and I'm proud of you guys.
Thanks, man. That's
Absolutely.
very thoughtful. I feel like I should unbutton my shirt a little bit. You're calling me a hunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You like that?
Your hairless chest.
My hairless chest. I Katie jokes when I talk about my chest hair because I have one. I have
Nice.
grown one chest hair.
Take good care of it.
It's sprung up out of nowhere. No, so the one I picked, have you ever heard of Mac DeMarco?
I've heard the name. I don't know.
Yeah, so he's a musician.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I was for some reason I came across him this week, and I'm like, man, that guy's a real hunk. I mean, and here's why. So he's chubby, he's scruffy, he's goofy, he smokes a bunch of cigarettes, he's got a giant gap tooth.
Okay.
But I think he's a hunk because he always is being himself. Like there's something about being comfortable in your own skin that I really admire, and I think that I've probably been there for maybe 10 years is all, but before that, like we talked about last time, like I had like the old penis head haircut, and I was always trying to fit in and be cool, and
Right.
Even though like I don't know that my personality ever changed, but I was always trying to be trendy, and I don't know, man, there's something just cool and hunky about not giving a shit about what other people think and just being you.
I fully agree. I think we're always we're constantly in that battle of just like being you. Just do
Right.
you. 'Cause we're good. I mean, it takes time to figure it out too. But yeah, good one. I like it.
Yeah, people are always trying to be accepted, but it never will ever feel right unless you're accepted for being yourself.
Very wise words.
Yeah, man. Otherwise, if somebody accepts you for being somebody else, like you're just a gall darn fraud. Hey, I like your shirt, by the way. You should show everybody what it is.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh baby.
This guy's got another podcast, which is it's good. If people are listening to this one, which I don't know if anybody will, but if they do, they should listen to that one. If they
Yelling at birds.
Yeah.
So I actually was on one yesterday, and I recorded an episode, filmed an episode, and was recording it. And then I felt great about it. It felt awesome. Then I go to edit the film, and no audio. So we'll hit that. I never had that happen with Zoom, but I have had it happen with like recording off the iPhone with a microphone. So it must have been like 2 clicks to get it in, a half click out or something.
Right.
So I'm gonna try again today at some point. Maybe
That
not.
sucks.
I don't know. But
Hopefully it's even better.
yes, exactly.
I don't think we'll ever have that though, because there's 2 of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if I couldn't hear you talking, I'd be like, hey,
Right. Exactly.
which I did because you were on mute. Were you on mute the whole time last time?
Yeah.
When we started here, you were on mute.
Yeah, I was just starting out, so I have to there's like some option to start your meeting on mute.
Yeah.
So I can just turn that off, or I can just remember to unclick that when I
Right.
start. But
All
yeah.
right. Well, with that, man, I think we've both got places to be. So
Great success!
very nice.
very nice.
All right.
All right. Talk to you next week, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see ya.